Hey, Being at Work listeners, welcome back to another episode. I cannot wait for you to hear today's conversation with Karen Stahl. She is the owner of Moake Park Group, and her story is such a beautiful example of what it looks like to trust your gut, even when your head is full of doubt. Karen did something a lot of us dream about. She stepped into business ownership. And when I asked her if making the transition from team member to owner was hard, she looked at me and said, "No, I just did it." And that stopped me in my tracks because so often, especially as women, we feel like we have to have everything figured out before we make a big move. We want the plan, the checklist, the certainty. But Karen's story reminds us that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is leap first and figure it out later. She told me if I had let my brain take over, I would have talked myself out of it. And I think that so many of us can relate to that. So this conversation is full of wisdom about letting go of perfectionism, learning to trust yourself, and not letting fear keep us small. It's about being brave, backing yourself, and asking, what if it works instead of what if it doesn't? I'm so grateful Karen shared her story, and I know it's going to stick with you like it stuck with me. So let's dive in. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I feel so honored that you would have asked me to share my story. So thank you.
Well, like I said, really, I will not forget that moment when you and I met at a networking event. And you were sharing your journey from team member to owner. I'm like, wow, how was that transition? Was that hard? And Karen was just like, nope. Why wasn't it hard?
Yeah, I guess I kind of back up a little bit. I own an architectural firm, and a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, are you an architect?" And I'm like, "No, not an architect, not an engineer." And they kind of look at me a little funny because it's, not a normal transition, I guess. And when I took this position as business developer many years ago, my goal was just to jump into the field, learn a little bit about it, maybe do this for about 3 to 5 years. And then back in probably 2018, 2019, the owner of the firm was ready to transition out of ownership. And so he basically came to the staff and said, "Hey, here's our options. We close the door. We could maybe merge with another firm, or if there's somebody here internally who would like to become the owner, come and talk to me." And so, yeah, it was one of those things I didn't even think twice about it. I just said, "I want to do this."
Had you been thinking about that?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like I said, this was kind of what I was looking at as kind of a stepping stone. I had never thought of architecture. If you would have asked, my younger self 15 years ago, where do you see yourself in 15 years? Architecture would have never, not even been in the top 100. And so, again, it was just this opportunity that presented itself as being the director of the business developer for the firm at the time. And I remember telling the owner, "Hey, I don't know anything about architecture." He's like, "Oh, you can just learn about it, but it's what you do know is relationship building and making those connections with people." And so I was like, "Okay, I think I'll do this for about 3 to 5 years." And then 3 years turned into 5 years, turned into 7 years, and turned into 9 years. And I can honestly say I was loving what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was learning a lot along the way. So again, when he brought this up, it was just like this automatic, I want to do this.
And this was to a group that he was bringing this up, right? It wasn't you one-on-one.
Right. It was the entire staff at a staff meeting.
And did you know in the moment, this is what I want to do?
I did. And it was the weirdest thing because there was no question. And so I remember going home.
There was no question.
No, I went home and told my husband.
Take me in that moment. So he's saying this word, did you get chills? Did you feel it? What do you mean? You just knew.
It was just like, I think I need to do this. And I think it had to do with the fact that I had been with the firm for many years. I believed in what we were doing. I believed in every staff member that was on the staff at that time, their passion for what they did, their dedication to every single client that we took in. And in my mind, I thought, this can't fail, because it wasn't me so much. It was more of the team, the group, the dynamics of the group, the team. So many people had been with the firm for so many years. And so in my mind, it can't fail. We've been successful for the last, it was like 27 years or so. And so it was just something inside me said yes. And so I went home and I told my husband, I said, I think I want to buy the firm. And he just looked at me like, okay, let's back up, Karen. Where is this coming from? Because we had never even discussed it, because it was never really on my radar. And I just kind of told him, and he just looked at me and he said, well, if this is what you want to do, we'll do whatever we need to do to make this happen. And then there were two other guys as well. So the three of us kind of individually talked to the owner, and I didn't know if anybody else had stepped up, and it was just kind of that. And so I was talking to the owner, and he said, I was hoping you would be interested.
Oh, wow.
And so I think he saw something in me probably early on that I never saw in myself until that moment. I never envisioned myself as a business owner. It just wasn't, I guess, in my plan. You know how everybody always has these plans, and you're like, okay, in 5 years, I want to do this, 10 years, 15, and then 20 years. And that was never part of my story. And so after I agreed to do this, it's a process, the transition process. And so we signed the papers on January 1 of 2020. Well, we all know what happened in 2020. And so come March, we've only been a business owner for 6, 8, 10 weeks. And now we're dealing with this massive situation. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, what did I just do? I just invested in this company, and now the world is shutting down. And our main clients were K-12, higher ed, then healthcare. And those were the ones that were trying to, really navigate the world. Sure. And so the last thing they're thinking about doing is a renovation or an addition or a new build project. And so I was thinking, oh, this isn't going to end well. And actually, it was the year, we had a great financial year, and it was really a perfect time looking back. You can always look back on situations. And I took that time because, we sent everybody home. Everybody was working from home. And there wasn't a whole lot that I could really be doing because I'm a connector. I work with the clients, prospective clients. And so they were just trying to deal with their own situations with students, healthcare. And so I just took that time and really dove deep into leadership, business transaction type things, learning about balance sheets, P&L, all of those things. And I just really just dove deep into it and just started reading as much as I could and listening to, whether it was a webinar or a podcast or something, just to kind of help build that knowledge of really what I should have probably done 9 or 10 months before. I mean, after signing the papers, I would have those nights where all of a sudden I would just sit up in bed and be like, oh my gosh, I am now responsible for 14, 15, 16, however many staff members I have, their families. Because if I'm not out there really meeting with clients and drumming up the business and bringing the business and projects through the door, all these people are relying on me. Although it's a team effort, so it wasn't like it's just me, but in my mind, that's what I was thinking. And then you start looking at all the different expenses and, everything that comes with ownership and healthcare costs rising, and making up for all of the, how do you deal with the increase of costs and, trying to keep projects coming in, it's been a ride the last 5 years. And again, it was just one of those things that I think you have to just sometimes go with your gut. Because if I would have really stopped and analyzed, I would have analyzed it to death, and I wouldn't be in this position today. Because I would have, you make your pros and your cons on your sheet of paper, and my pros would have been very small. And all the 500 reasons why I should not be doing this would have dominated my decision. I think as women, a lot of times if we can't check all of those boxes, then we don't think we're qualified. We just think, well, what if this fails? And like what you said in the intro, but what if it works? What if this is successful? And taking even that mentality, okay, so what if it doesn't work? You've grown, because you grow by stepping outside your comfort zone and taking those risks that sometimes they're successful and sometimes they're not. But I think that's how we grow as an individual. And I know that's every day. Every day I'm growing. Every day I try to step outside that box and just be strategic in our planning and coming up with new ideas to grow the company, whether it's internally or externally, working with the staff and making sure everybody's, it's more than just making sure that we have income coming in. It's the culture of the company, dealing with growing the staff, getting the right individuals in those positions that are going to work well with all of the other staff members. I'm growing and I love what I do, but again, it has to go back to it's okay if we make a mistake. When we make the decision, I think we have to have our own back all the time, because I don't think I think there are probably more naysayers out there than those that maybe will agree with you. Those people might come up again with another 50 reasons why you shouldn't be doing this instead of giving you maybe 50 reasons why you should. I think our minds automatically just go to that fear and the what ifs, this can't work. I'm a mom of 3, and I think even as a mom, we trust our intuition. We've always have. So why not trust that intuition on other circumstances, like whether it's business or anything else?
Isn't that true?
And just giving ourselves that permission to be bold. It's okay. I mean, we don't need to have all the answers. I don't think. That's my opinion. I don't think we need to have all the answers.
Why do you think, you and I had this conversation, that especially as women, we want to have all of the ducks in a row. We want to have it all mapped out. We want certainty. Why do you think that's the case for women in your experience?
Well, my husband would tell you it's because I'm a control freak and I want to be able to control. But I think it's because we are afraid to fail, and we think that everybody is looking at us to be perfect and have it all together. And I don't know if that's truly the case. I think that's something that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure, okay, do we have the degree to do this? Do we have the experience? Do we have this? Do we have the time? Do we have the money? Do we have the resources? And the answer is probably 90% of the time, possibly no. But that shouldn't keep us from exploring those options and trusting yourself. And like I said before, okay, so it might not come out perfectly, but if you look back, I look back throughout my life, and if I wouldn't have made some of the mistakes that I've made along the way, I wouldn't be the person who I am today.
Right.
And I think that's important too, because that's how we grow and that's how we learn. And that's what kind of helps define who we are. Those. The mistake
Yeah.
doesn't define us. It's how we overcome those obstacles or mistakes. That's what defines us.
Always.
And so I don't think we should let those mistakes or obstacles or whatever you want to call them define who we are. Let's take what we learned from it to define who we are.
When you made the decision in 2019, you said something inside you said, I want to do this. And you told us why. You believed in what you were doing. You believed in the team. Did you have people around you say, Karen, you're crazy?
Do you know what? I didn't tell anybody.
You didn't tell anybody.
I didn't tell anybody. I told my husband, well, of course, my husband. I should probably have told him.
But nobody else.
No, I didn't tell, really, I didn't tell anybody. My daughter, I think my daughter knew, and probably, I'm trying to think if I even told my sons. And so I remember after and I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want people to tell me why I shouldn't be doing this and talk me out of it. And I remember after it was kind of a done deal, calling my sister and telling her, and she started laughing because she was like, Karen, you did not. She's like, she just did not even, again, it wasn't something I was ever really talking about. It wasn't something that I was like, hey, I think I'm thinking about purchasing or, becoming a business owner. And so she was just like, yeah, so I didn't tell anybody other than my close family because I didn't want, because after I decided to do it, every once in a while I'd have those little voices in my head and I just would kind of push them away and I just kept moving forward. And I didn't want, I guess I didn't want anybody to talk any sense into me. Does that make sense? Like I didn't want somebody to say, whether it was my sister, a friend, or, anybody, just say, Karen, have you really sat down and thought about this? And I probably would have had to look them straight in the eye and say, I really haven't thought out every detail. But I understand the industry. I understand the company. I understand the people. I understand what my role is within the company. I just do the business developing, relationship building, and more of kind of the marketing business end of things. And then we've got the architects to take care of the important things of actually designing and doing the work. And so, no, it was just kind of, and I know it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I guess the process.
Maybe it's the smartest thing ever. I mean, what I hear in that is just be careful of who you talk to. You said earlier, having your own back. That's such a good reflection of that. What was most important to you is how you felt about it. And I love your husband's response when you told him, he's like, how do we do this? He was so supportive.
And it wasn't like, if I would have told like my sister or my mom, it's not like they would have not believed in me. It's just, I think they would have thought bigger picture, like, how can you do this?
Yeah. Like you said, like talk some sense into you. So they would have almost forced you to push pause and think about it. But what you're saying is like, then your head would have kicked in and your head might have talked your gut out of doing what you really knew you should do.
Exactly. Because our thoughts never stop. And the majority, a lot of times, a lot of our thoughts are going to be negative because that's just how our brain works. I mean, it's just, it wants to protect us from any outside situations or whatever. But, and who's to say it's not going to fail in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15? I don't know. I mean, who knows? But I can tell you, while I'm on this journey and on this path, I'm loving every minute of it. I love what I do. I love my staff. I love everybody that I work with. I love my clients. And like some people on Sunday night, they kind of dread, Monday. I really don't ever get that feeling because I just I'm enjoying this journey. Now, whether or not I stay on this journey or this path for the next 10 or 15 years, I don't know. But as of right now, it's a good fit for me and I love what I do. And I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. I'll probably work until the day I die just because, between kids and grandkids, they're expensive.
They sure are.
And so I've got to probably keep working. But I do enjoy it. And I think that if more people would just, especially women, would just listen to their intuition and be bold and tell themselves that, hey, what if it does work? I think it could change the trajectory of their path and their journey. And hey, and like I said, if it doesn't work, you learn something and you grow.
Always.
And you just kind of, hey, the power of intuition. Yeah. We're women. We're masters of that.
We are masters of that.
We are.
It's a superpower.
It is a superpower. And I think sometimes we try to bury that superpower.
Yeah.
I'm faith-driven, so I'll pray about things as well. And I do a lot of journaling, getting some of that stuff out of my head and on paper. I try to journal every morning, meditation, kind of clear my thoughts and really just clear my brain of any of that negativity. I mean, a good example is this podcast.
Yeah.
When you invited me on, I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And I felt so honored that you would ask me. And then as the time got closer, I'm thinking, what did I just do? I agreed to go on this podcast and, what message do I have to put out there? And then I have to stop myself and, maybe this won't resonate with everyone, but even if it touches a handful of people and they can take a couple nuggets of information from what I've kind of learned and kind of my path and my journey and take that and help them, then this was worth it. This is completely out of my comfort zone.
And how does it feel? Like 24 minutes in?
It's not too bad. I'm probably rambling on.
No, but it's an important message because the message that you have to share is your message. And that's all you're doing.
Yes.
And so it probably feels natural and feels flow because you're sharing honestly. You're being vulnerable. You're being open.
I hope it will resonate with somebody out there. And I think too, as women, we always want to, I don't know so much as be a role model, but just show other women that you can step outside the box. You can follow a passion, a dream, and take that journey, and it's okay. I try to instill that into my daughter and my niece. I'm very close to my niece as well. And to let them see, hey, you don't have to have all the answers. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to try. You can't not try.
You have to try.
I think I want to impress that on, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can have a dream at 70 and you're not too old. You can still pursue that dream or that journey or that path. I think sometimes, and I've even thought that, I think I'm too old to do this. Or and I'm just thinking, wait a second. The best years of my life are possibly still ahead of me. This is the perfect time to do this.
Yeah.
I think we as women need to stop putting constraints on we're not too old, we're not too young, we're not too, I don't know, we're not in the right social class, or we're not in the right, we don't have the right education. It could be anything. And we have to stop putting us in these little tight boxes.
Well, wherever you go and at whatever stage of life you are in, there your intuition is also.
That's correct.
So how do you listen to your intuition? How do you know it's your intuition?
That's a good question. I think it's because it's something deep down inside of it. It's almost like when you say it out loud, you almost are like it's kind of that
That's right. It's almost like that's
Yes. Just kind of
alignment.
like this.
It's like alignment with yourself, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if you sit quietly with yourself, and I know that's hard, but I think that's what we need to do. If you sit quietly with yourself and you kind of envision yourself on that path or that journey, and you can smile, you know,
Oh,
it's your intuition. Because when you're quiet and you're just with yourself and that smile comes on your face and
yeah.
it's just you. And
Yeah.
then you're like, yeah, that's it. That's it.
And in this world where, we are taking cues and prompts from our robots, our Chat GPT and Siri and Alexa, and looking for answers outside of ourselves. It's almost like we're programmed to look for answers outside of ourselves. So that quiet time, getting past the noise, is so critical because in a lot of ways, I think we've turned off the intuitive power we have as we've given it to those external sources.
I would agree. And it's because, like you said, there's so much coming at us 24/7, and everybody has an opinion. I mean, everybody has an opinion about everything. No matter what you say or do, there's an opinion out there. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that, or you shouldn't be saying that. You should be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. You don't have the education to do that. What gives you the right to apply for this position, or what makes you think you can, whatever. And so
Right.
taking the time and just saying, okay, stop. I want to sit with this.
And just see what comes up.
Yeah, just see what comes up.
Yeah. And it's probably going to feel awkward to some people. But again, like trusting it.
Yeah.
That's that built-in superpower you're tapping into. You got to trust that's there.
And once you make the decision, don't look back.
And once you make the decision, don't look back.
Don't second
Yeah.
guess your decision.
Right.
When you've sat with yourself and you feel it internally and it puts a smile on your face and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, then just go. Just keep going forward.
And that takes a ton of courage because there will be people that will not like it.
No, there won't be people. And you know what? That's probably even more reason why your intuition is correct. Because
Right.
some people want to hold you back.
Yeah.
And so I think just once you make the decision, if after I made the decision, if I started second guessing myself and started listening to all those negative thoughts or reasons why, I wouldn't have signed those papers.
Yeah.
But when I made the decision, it was just, okay, I'm going forward.
You
I'm
knew.
not looking back. I'm not living in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow myself to sit around and say, well, what if it doesn't work? What if this fails? What if this is because that's not going to propel you forward. So it's just a matter of tapping into it and go and learn.
Leaping first and figuring it out later.
Maybe it's not for everybody. I don't know. But it is scary.
yeah,
But again, I think it doesn't have, it doesn't have to be this huge of a life change for people. Even if it's something small, you can start with something small and keep building. And then you've built trust in yourself. Because a lot of times I don't think we trust ourselves. So we have to slowly build that trust. And you can only build that trust by making maybe those small micro decisions, and then make the decision and then just go forward. And even if it's just little baby steps.
Yeah, because the more you do that, the more affirmation life is going to give you that
Correct.
you're on the right track. It's why, you've probably heard my voice. I've gotten emotional multiple times throughout this conversation because it's such a relatable story. For years, I felt like I needed to launch my own consulting business. I was leading a consulting business as an employee, and my gosh, I'm growing this. Like, what? And I don't own the business. I want to own a business. Like, that's what I want to do. And I kept rationalizing, no, I'm fine. And then last year I did it, and it has been fascinating to see how life has rewarded me trusting my intuition. Life has opened up in a way and said, hey, thank you for working with us and trusting yourself. It's amazing how life opens up when we trust ourselves. It gives us affirmation that we're on the right track.
And I'm sure you made a few mistakes along the way.
Of course, and I will always have sleepless nights. I will always have those oh shit moments. But like you said, I mean, we can notice that and then get back on track. It's all right.
Correct. And how many years did you think about going out on your own?
Oh, years. Years, 5, maybe more.
And see, I think probably in those, say, 5 years, you probably had all those little negative thoughts or those little gremlins in your head telling you why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I did. And people, I had lots of people. You've got it so good. Things are so good. Why would you rock the boat? You're making so much money. You're doing so well. You love your team. Why would you leave? They rationalized it.
And what did you tell them? Did you give them an answer?
Yeah, you're right. Good point. No, good point. Good point. Yep, I'll just keep focusing. I'll keep focusing on what I can control.
Even those outside sources, it's not because they don't care for you or love you or believe in you. It's just they are going to have those reasons why you shouldn't be doing.
Well, isn't that about them? They don't want to be uncomfortable with you taking a risk.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, it's a learning process, I think, and I don't know, it's a fun journey, and I think when you when you finally can believe in yourself, whatever path or whatever journey, then that's just your road.
It's just your road.
You're going to come to forks in the road eventually.
Yeah.
And then you can say, hey, you know what? I've done this and I'm good where I am. And now I'm ready to try something new.
This is episode number 206. And it's one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, thank you. This has been so nice.
It is so relatable. There isn't a human walking around that cannot relate to this. We get hooked by all the stuff. It is time to start listening to our inner voice.
Yes.
It is time.
Yeah, it is. And there's so much outside noise. And I just want, especially the younger professional women or the younger women coming up, to know that there is a place for them, and they do have a path and a journey, and they'll find it. Yeah. They just have to believe in themselves and surround themselves by other strong women and strong men. You know, I think, there are a lot of men out there as well that are cheering for women.
Yes. And every single man also struggles with the very same thing that we've been talking about today. So
they just don't vocalize it.
Yeah, it's that vulnerability sometimes. Yeah, I'm so grateful. My partner is a man who is very open about the struggle and the vulnerabilities. So they are out there. Well, and then the more you take off the armor, the more growth there is. So you've got to be willing to take the armor off.
Yeah, you do. And like I said, you have to be able to kind of sit in that quiet time and really
do the work.
Make sure it's something that you want to do and it's not something that someone is telling you need to be doing.
You're right. How does it feel within my body?
Exactly.
How does it feel within me? Well, Karen, thank you so much, my friend.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was so delightful. I loved it.
I'm so grateful. See? Did you hear that?
I guess. Yeah.
I knew you would. I suspect this is the first of many podcasts that you will be a part of.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Oh, I do. I'm trusting my intuition on that.
Okay.
You're going to be on the podcast circuit. You're a great podcast guest, and you have such an inspiring, uplifting story. Do your team members in your firm, do they know your story? Do you talk about this regularly?
I mean, I think they know it just because they've been here. I mean, I don't think they know that I didn't really think a lot about it. And they didn't know really who the new owners were going to be until it was pretty much about a done deal. And so I don't know. Yeah.
It'll be fun for you to share this. I think you should share this with your whole team.
I'll let them know that I'm on the podcast.
There you go.
I haven't even told very many people about the podcast.
See? Yeah.
And so
that is a big takeaway for me. Just be thoughtful about who you share with, because I'm such an open book. I'm always sharing everything. Like, I don't need to do that.
yeah, and I do the same thing. I mean, I love to talk. I love to tell my story. I love to tell stories. I love to hear other people's stories. And yeah, my family will tell you that I probably overshare and talk too much. But there are some things like this podcast, I was like, just in case it doesn't happen, or if it's
But Karen, what if it works?
I know. What if it did?
What if it does work?
And so I did tell my kids, and they were like, what? So yeah, so I will have to share the episode with them.
I can't wait for them to hear it. Well, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a true pleasure, and I truly enjoyed it.
If our listeners want to connect with you, Karen, where's the best place to find you? LinkedIn?
You can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay, Karen Stahl.
Karen Stahl.
Reach out.
And they can also look on our website at www.moakepark.com.
There you go. If you need an architect, you call.
There you go.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Let's connect to go a bit deeper. How can I help you? Looking for an executive coach, a facilitator for a team or leader engagement, or a high energy, heartfelt speaker? Learn more and connect with me through our website at abundantempowerment.com. I look forward to co-creating something magical with you.